Very, very juicy
Yeah,
odds.
those are very generous odds from LootBet. Of course, there is a promo if you sign up there, so make sure you check those links out. Should pop up somewhere
Well, yeah, we'll
on
go over
MooBot.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, the Centaur pickup from GXR kind of ties in really nicely with your puck combination. So you've got Stampede to run in, you've got the Dream Coil to hold him down. You can go in and out of these fights really well. The aggressive combos from the Jug, you don't really want to commit that on a Centaur. It's one of those heroes that, by the time he hits level 3, level 4, can be a bit too tanky to burst down, but the damage output of Jug +1 either support is still really good. So it's a back and forth one. I think the Centaur will have to watch his level 1 to 3. It's a bit weaker for the Centaur in that lane. Like the burst damage output's just too strong for Motivate.Trust. And they go with the Mars now as well. This is a nice way to counteract the Centaur Stampede. As long as you get your arena off, it's kind of like the Dream Coil, right? If you're an enemy puck and there's a Centaur on the other side, or if there's an enemy puck and you're the Centaur, you don't always feel great popping Stampede because the Dream Coil stops you. Same thing with Arena. You can't really run out once that's committed. So there's some pressure here on Masaros to get the right Arena off at the right time, but they have a way of stopping the great escapes now from GXR.
That they do. Been a while since we've seen the Masaros Mars, but it feels good to see it come back. That does leave Fearless's hero as the last pickup, by the way, which is a little bit rare, right? Because we usually see Masaros having that last pick, but it's not going to be the case this time around. They'll let Fearless have that last pick priority as GXR. They'll go into the Ursa, which is a quite a nice pick, I'd say, right? Like into the Mars, into the Jug. Very effective against both those heroes, this Ursa. I gotta say, there's nothing really that comes to mind that you could throw in the mid lane that really screws over the Ursa here for Motivate. Then again, I guess there was things like the Viper, but that has been banned out. Could still also go down the option of, say, like the Razor, but you also have Fury Swipes still there, which don't really care about the static link damage being taken away. So I'm very curious now to see what Motivate do want to throw in that mid lane to try and finish off this draft and give themselves a good chance of trying to get a 2-0 victory here in this this upper bracket playoff.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, the Ursa is going to be really nice against Mars. He just doesn't care about that durability coming through in the lane. What I do worry about the Ursa in this case is kiteability. You're going to need a fast BKB for sure. If you don't get the BKB, Clockwork Cogs, yeah, well, the BKB doesn't even fix that, but the Cogs are going to be annoying. Grimstroke Inkswell, the Stroke of Fate Salt's going to be annoying. Battery Salt's going to hold you off. They've got some ways of holding back the Ursa. You're going to have to coordinate with your Centaur to get the proper Stampede to chase around these heroes a lot easier. I think for Galaxy Racer now, looking like they're going to be lacking a support to close it out. Probably a hard 5 coming through, as I'm expecting the line to be 4, getting that farm priority. And that does mean you're going to have Centaur line as your dual lane. It's pretty potent. They go with the Enchantress, so you could maybe flex that. You could maybe go Enchantress 4, line 5. I think in this case, you'd want a quick blink on your line. So you'd want him to take farm priority here, build off that way. Enchantress Ursa can be potent, especially if you get a nice enchanted creep. You can apply some great harassment with the Impetus. The Mars being a melee hero is going to be pretty easy to zone out. That makes it a bit harder for you to commit to a Mars Clockwork lane. So you might just see Grimstroke taking that pause 4 here, just so he can kind of trade with the Enchantress a bit easier and not just completely get run down by the Impetus early on.
Motivate.Trust. Final pickup. Any kind of guesses on what they want to pick up Fearless here? Never mind, it's too late. They're going to go for the Ricky.
Oh,
Well,
I love it. I love it. That's great. They just play against Ricky. They take it themselves. Mid lane matchup, kind of the same thing with Storm for Ricky, right? Ricky versus Puck. You should still be able to hold steady as Ricky. We didn't really see Fearless completely knock Alacrity out of lane as well. But they've got the synergy going on here. Inkswell plus Ricky jumping in. They've got the Arena plus Tricks of Trade. And I think for Fearless, he's got to be able to be more aggressive in his early power spike. Because if he doesn't find farm later on, and it is very hard to find farm when you don't go Battle Fury, you're going to need to really have that early impact and ensure that you get the space out for Jackie. Bit more straightforward for Motivate.Trust this time. They've got much better power spikes in the early mid. It's not as late game loaded as it was in game 1. Galaxy Racer as well, they've got scaling into the late game now. So much more balanced drafts from both sides. No glaring weaknesses, and that should lead to a rather even game 2 here. If Galaxy Racer can pull off the same early game performance and then transition that into high ground push, they can give themselves a pretty decent chance here for getting a game 3 up.
With that, John, I'm going to have to ask you the hard question before the game number 2 does begin. Who came out with the better draft, in your opinion, going into this game 2?
I would lean towards Motivate.Trust here. I think their combinations with their support duo of Clockwork, Grimstroke are really strong. With the Ricky, with the Mars, even with the Jug on their safe lane, it is really hard to lane against that. Their team fight's looking a lot more solid as well, because they've got Tricks of the Trade, they've got Arena, they've got Cogs, they've got Hookshot from a mile away. It's GXR, they're not completely outdrafted, of course. Like, there is still a decent chance of pulling this off, but they need to fix the mistakes we saw from game 1. It's still kind of the same thing, except In Your Dream has a hero that can be your solo win condition, unlike the Razor. So if it does go ultra late, I think front-loading your farm onto IYD is going to pay off more, but it's still an Ursa against all these options to kite it around. And once that BKB goes down to 6 seconds in the late game, it's going to be hard for In Your Dream to just stand there and depend entirely on Enrage and maybe his Ag Shard to just counteract some of that control.
Do love the wording, by the way, John. Front-loading isn't one I've heard from you before, but it's nice to hear. Gotta say that it does sound like you're talking about a washing machine now, if I'm honest, John, so there you go.
Just 30 seconds now.
Front loading, top loading.
Yeah. Quick pause out. We saw Motivate.Trust last game around. They were having some internet issues, so hopefully everything is alright and we won't see another 5-man disconnection coming up. It does give us time, though, for me to bring up some odds before you really get the game started. And I gotta say, I love that line. The first time their support pack came out on the side of Motivate.Trust, I went into an SEA pub, and they just kept spamming that line over and over again. And it was so darn annoying. Every single time somebody got a kill, they would spam that darn line. It just makes you kind of chuckle every single time, as now the pizza's out. Jackie, oh, that's a big stun. Jokam, a 3-man Earthspike, but now the turnaround. Mizu is going to be alright. The battery assault not going to do too much. There won't be enough follow-up. Q being a little bit cheeky, trying to go back in, but he forced to back out. A close call there for both sides, but they do get out with their lives intact.
The 3 bounty rune start for GXR. So they've got a decent gold injection once more. We saw this in game 1 as well, where Motivate.Trust just didn't manage to quite get that initial rune control. And we will see the lanes break out. You've got Mizu on the Centaur, along with Jokam on the line. Of course, they are up against Leonak on that Grimstroke, and Jackie on the Jug once more. And again, early on, you can play with those stun combos. Like, you can land Earth Spike plus the Hoof Stop, but you have to watch the level 2 coming through. Level 2, level 3. Once Blade Fury's up at 2 with the Ink Swell on top, the Jug and Grimstroke can run down you and start to melt. Like, Mizu's not that tanky at all. We saw him comp a lot of damage, and he's down to just 1 Tango. You do have to watch how far forward you get here on the Centaur.
That you do. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got Alacrity there up against Fearless. Fearless already having a very good start to his laning stage, but Alacrity should be able to keep up just fine on that puck. A big wave coming his way. Have a look back at this mid lane in a bit as well as top lane. You got Policy and In Your Dream up against Masros and Q. We've seen the Ursa vs Mars match up quite a bit. In fact, here we go. The enchant is there, so In Your Dream can get right to work. And Masros, he does not have the spear up, so he cannot push away In Your Dream, and that'll mean the first blood does go the way of Policy. As you saw Q, he was trying to help out on the Clockwork just with the battery assault. But you've really got to get to that level 2 mark so you have the spear up. And you can just kind of spear and cogs away the Ursa.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit rough there for Masaros. And the matchup against Ursa is just not that great. Maybe if you land a spear plus battery assault and the cogs isolation, you can look for a turn on the Ursa. Paulson's just working out this range advantage. Well, it's dual melee lane up against Enchantress. Q cannot stop Paulson from just right-clicking whenever he wants. And that's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. Like, once Paulson finds a really nice large camp creep, once it spawns up, you're going to be hard-pressed to completely zone out the Enchantress as well as the Ursa. So you have to watch your spacing there. It does allow GXR to get a lot of good initial farm going here for IYD, and we're going to have to see if he will commit for an early Battle Fury in this game. But he should have the space to get that done. Looking back at mid, it's still relatively even. 12-1 for Fearless, 13-1 now, 11-4 for Alacrity, and it's kind of the same thing we saw from game 1, except Fearless is playing the Riki now. There's not too much the puck can do to harass you out, and it's not like the Storm as well, where you always had to tread on melee heroes with your Remnant and the Overload. Puck has to keep spamming out the Orb and Waning Rift, and Fearless is pretty much on point to just dodge. So if it doesn't land on a Riki, you can't really zone him out, and it's just really a farming lane, which honestly I feel like it'll favor the Riki to just have this passive farm lane overall.
And it will.
A prize.
Yeah. Has his bounty rune stolen away there by Alacrity? It's a little still there from our puck. Of course, Fearless not really going to be bothering to go after those bounties, but he will now. I think now that he's seen Alacrity has stolen his own one away. In fact, never mind, because Alacrity now should be able to just go get it himself. The thing is, Fearless doesn't really need the bounties for that bottle, considering he doesn't really have one. Alacrity should always be able to have that advantage with the bounties, and naturally having a bottle is going to help with just keeping that regen up. Fearless is going to kind of be relying on his own passive regen to keep himself up. And of course the water runes as well, which Alacrity does pick one up now. We'll see if Fearless does go get another. Looks like he will. Pretty quiet overall though across the map, right? Like 1 kill's happened. Looks like each team is just kind of securing their own levels of farm before they really try to get aggressive.
I think this is really nice for Fearless though. Like, we saw Alacrity go for the bottle onto Riki last time. This time Fearless is going for a dual rate band, which we didn't see from Alacrity. So he's got better stats, he hits a lot harder, and once he can commit the smokescreen plus tricks, you're not going to feel very comforting. And once he gets that Orb of Corrosion on top of it, this Riki will be a powerhouse by the 10-12 minute mark. You will have to watch just how much you're allowing this to get done. They're not committing for side lane rotations. You're not getting supports out. And this kind of passive start, well, on paper it looks good for GXR, because they do have First Blood. I don't think you mind for Motivate.Trust. You're still getting steady build up on every single lane. The only lane really hurting is Jackie, but we've seen him play from behind on his past one before.
And we have as top lane, Paulison does get caught out. Q asking him if it was not what he expected, as in your dream now going to chase him down, and does get a nice little trade for himself. Q seeming a little bit overly happy that it killed off Paulison, and in your dream still gets a nice kill for himself anyway.
It's pretty worthwhile for GXR. You see that kill to In Your Dream. So again, you're just topping up on your Ursa, building up some good kills. They do manage to, at least without that, Paulson manages to TP back mid, get the bottle refill for Alacti. Level 6 is up on the puck. Dream Coil's up, and that could make it awkward for the Riki.
Immediately being used up. Jocam now moving in with the Earth Spike, and he still has the X up, but Q is going to try and help with the battery assault on Cogs. Fearless is going to be able to get away with the tricks of the trade. Back in on Jocam. They will be able to get the line, it seems they do. Alacrity unable to finish off the kill onto Fearless. Q and Leonak really saving the day there for Fearless. Alacrity trying to get very aggressive very early on with his supports, but it does not pan out.
Yeah, and he's trying to look again. No Dream Coil, though.
Oh, Paulison, he's in trouble. Q, feeling very confident on this Clockwork, does find another kill. This time he sets up for his Riki. Now, I didn't really talk about this very much, John, but it is a very good Clockwork game. Both supports on the side of GXR are very susceptible to dying to Clockwork. Now, Q will be able to find solo pickoffs a lot, I think, throughout this game, as bot lane Mizu is going to pop a Stampede, and I believe it was just a run away from Jackie, who was with an Inkswell spin up. Does manage to get away, but that'll mean Stampede is going to be down for another minute and a half. So now Jocam's going to be in trouble because Q is going to break the gap. Silence is there, but it is a bit too late. Q unable to get the battery assault cogs off. We'll have to let Jocam go. Now GXR, they're going to bring 2 supports down to the bot lane themselves now and maybe start applying that pressure onto Jackie in that bottom tier 1 tower.
Yeah, looks like they're really being proactive here for GXR. They know they've got to slow Jackie down just a little bit more. They can afford to leave their Ursa alone. And in terms of CS, that is lining up for GXR. They've got a lot better CS on all 3 cores. They can start applying pressure in that tier 1, and they do have really good control with Lion Centaur. So if one of these supports missteps, if Leonac stays a bit too long, it'll be a really easy kill to find.
Another nice Earth Spike, gonna make sure Q can't break the gap. Jackie was thinking about it, but realizes he can't really kill anyone without some backup. Speaking of that backup, you'd expect Fearless maybe to rotate soon, but he gets a little bit unlucky with the power rune there as it does spawn up top. Though luckily for Alacrity, it is a double damage. He will bottle it up and immediately run up top himself. But Masaros, realizing the puck is missing, is going to back off for a bit and just go ahead and block his own creep wave. Meanwhile, JoeCam is going to be spotted here by Q. The battery assault doing a fair bit of damage out onto JoeCam, but it looks like he may be alright as now Fearless comes in. They'll secure the kill regardless of the Stampede being popped. Just was not enough to allow JoeCam to get away from the Ricky. Again, another nice pickup here for Motivate.
They're starting to find a lot more kills. 4-2 now. 1k lead still standing for GXR. You have to worry about Fearless's damage output. The Orb of Corrosion's up with the 2 rate bands, and the stats on the rate bands have just kept him alive for so long.
Alacrity is in. Silence is going to make sure he can't get out of this. The Inkswell stun was there as well, but they may not have enough damage output. In fact, now Fearless is the one in danger. They dust him up. He's going to try and man fight. In fact, in your dream now, TP's in. They found the Ricky. They will find Leonac on the Grimstroke. Masaros is coming to help out, but he does not have the arena skilled up yet. Q will die in the mid lane, and Masaros will not be able to help out.
That was very strange for Motivate.Trust. Fearless had tricks. He did not use it at all. Even after the silence faded, he just didn't get it off. A massive blunder for Motivate.Trust as GXR finally finds some good punishment. They even take double bounties from their triangle. Altson probably gonna live through this one. Nah, they've got the spear.
It'll be a slow process, but eventually they do get him. Masaros probably really wants to get to that level 8 mark so he can at least have a point in the arena. As you can see, GXR, they've been very aggressive now with their own draft. I'm probably going to need a point in that arena up to be able to counter-initiate. GXR, they're going to set up for that bot lane. Tier 1 tower, quite susceptible. The exact same thing will be done at the top side as Motivate will get to work. Should be a pretty even trade. I say that Mizu, he's going to rotate up on the Centaur. They'll even bring another. Spear's going to be there on Mizu, but he's going to have time to try and defend that tier 1. And Jackie is going to stick around for a little bit of time, but ultimately they're just going to let it go for now. In fact, they have caught out the big one. Jackie gets caught by the coil and the smoke screen. Was there from Fearless, but it just was not enough to save him from the finger.
Yeah, and these kills are really starting to pile up for GXR. 4k lead now at the 11-minute mark. It's looking similar to how Game 1 was. The side of Motivate.Trust dropping some heroes here and there. They do have level 6 up on Q.
In your dream. Oh,
no.
Oh, what was that?
Oh no, Q.
Yeah, that was way off. The angle on the hook, I mean, I know the creeps were walking in front of him, but that was way off. Very unfortunate there for Q. I suppose had he landed it, maybe they would have been able to kill off In Your Dream, but he did still have Enrage anyway, so he probably could have just enraged and walked out. Instead now, Motivate, they'll just back off and kind of bide their time, and GXR will be the ones to smoke up. See what they can get done. This coil is going to be off cooldown in 10.
Got the blink up as well here on Alacrity, so it's a lot easier to jump in.
It is onto Masaros, but do they have the damage output? They just may. He's trying to tank through it, but no, it's not going to be enough. Alacrity does end up taking it, but now Q with the Inkswell going to chase down Paulison. They should at least be able to find one for their trouble. So now Fearless comes in to try and clean up. The heals are there. It's just not going to be enough. Still the coil being committed here by Alacrity. In Your Dream's going to come in to try and capitalize off this coil onto Fearless. But Fearless goes back in onto JoeCam to try and find. And he will be punished. In fact, they even found Q on the clockwork.
That's for your impertinence.
And I'm not 100% sure what the idea was from Fearless there on the Ricky. Trying to fight the Lion while the Ursa was around, but it is going to mean In Your Dream picks up another kill.
And it leads the scoreboard to 6-9 now, advantage for GXR, lining up for the mid. They're not able to pull the team fights off here from Motivate.Trust. We haven't seen that big, impactful arena from Masaros. And GXR gets off to a splendid start once more. So as long as they keep this pace, find more objectives by the 25-minute mark, they can actually start to really apply pressure onto Motivate.Trust. They still need a lot more farm on Fearless. They need a lot more farm on Jackie. Even Masaros will need his quick blink up if he wants to be able to set up for his team. And for GXR's part, In Your Dream's very close to the defusal on his Ursa. That's going to be a massive power spike for him. Mizu's already got the Hood of Defiance Vanguard, just so tanky up front, and the Stampedes are just setting up for every single kill they get.
Bot lane Q gonna look for a hook shot, does land it very nicely onto JoeCam. That'll be a nice easy lying kill, as there's really nothing he can do about it. Masaros just throwing the spear in for good measure. So this has bought a lot of time, and that'll mean In Your Dream now has the Diffusal Blade up with the Orb of Corrosion and Phase Boots. Some really good timing here for In Your Dream. You do expect GXR now, especially with this item build up, to get a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, you'd want to leverage that damage, leverage that inhibit on the defusal, the control you have on hand to find more kill. Motivate.Trust feel really weak right now, simply because they don't have great angles to approach. They basically have a clockwork hook and a Ricky to come in, but that's only one here they can hold out.
Very true. As Fearless gonna find Paulison, and this should be a nice easy kill. And it will be Fearless. He'll find his 4th of the game.
I do my work at the cutting edge.
Your Dream not opting to get involved quite yet on the Ursa. He's just gonna keep his own farm up. He is top of the net worth board, so there's not really too much of a rush for him. He'll just happily back out again. Like, there you go. There's the big smoke up now from GXR. They're going to head right into the Radiant Triangle where they'll spot out Jackie, and that'll be a massive pick-off. But Jackie's going to back off at the right time. The coil's not going to land. Even Jackie thought it landed there for a second. It won't matter though. They get the kill with the finger. TP's coming in. Hookshot is there. They found JoeCam. But is this the fight? Fearless, he got caught by the stun. They might have the damage output with the silence out. But no, Fearless, he does survive. He gets out of the arena. Mizu and In Your Dream can't finish off the kill. Instead, they'll go on to Masaros. But Leonak's going to be there with the Inksword to try and help out. In fact, Mizu now being caught in the cogs. But it won't matter. They won't follow up. The GXR, they found Jackie. They will lose Alacrity and JoeCam in the process. Not too bad of a trade overall for either side, but I think GXR will still be pretty happy knowing Jackie is dead.
Yep, they're slowing down the Jug's farm, slowing down his progression past Maelstrom. They're really contesting this triangle, which is one of the shakeups from Game 1. They kind of just let jungle control in the triangle go. This time they're planting forward wards, they're clearing out the camps themselves. But it's a bit more awkward for Motivate.Trust to get that build up on their cores. They are still slowly progressing the defusal. It's almost done here on Fearless. Once you have that up, damage output of Ricky really skyrockets. But of course, you've got the Ursa. You can go straight into the Roche pit. And it's not going to be too long. That is going to be a nice, quick, easy Roche for GXR. And have
nice
Aegis
hook shot.
up on Angry.
That is a very, very nice hook shot there from Q. He was really patient about that one. But it's like you said, while JoeCam was getting ganked In Your Dream, did end up finishing off that Roshan and does pick up the Aegis. So definitely still a better trade there for GXR. Much better trade, in fact. But now, the way they're playing GXR, it reminds you of Game 1, right? They're in the lead for the first half of the game. We'll see if they can try to close it out with this kind of lead. In fact, top lane, Leonak, he kills off Paulison. However, Masaros has been caught out. It is going to die in the Mars. Nice little jukes there from Alacrity with the Dream Coil to just kind of hold him down. Motivate.Trust, they will continue to suffer throughout this game number 2.
They're just getting picked off on the sides. They're only finding support kills on their solo pickoffs. I don't think GXR minds that at all. It's definitely favorable for them. The one issue for Motivate.Trust is that I think they still need a lot more to come out on Fearless. The defusal is still on its way, not quite there. GXR, they could look to just keep playing aggressive. Aegis is still up.
Your dream. You can take Leonaka, no problems. Fearless, he was trying to help. In fact, now the dust comes out. A very nice setup from JoeCam, but the hook shot not gonna help. They get stunned up together.
Hello, this is Gabe.
Oh, it's a nice attempt from Q, but the Earth Spike from JoeCam landing on both of them. Make sure that Q could not cogs away the Ursa. GXR will continue dominating throughout this game number 2.
Yeah, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from GXR this time. They're transitioning into the objectives. They have not let go of their triangle control.
What up, Jackie?
Finding here's cross.
That's a massive pickup if they can get it. They get the silence off with the Dream Coil. Jackie, though, still has a spin up and will try to get himself out. Masros is in now. Jackie's out of there with the healing ward. He will survive. JoeCam is still alive as well, but May dies now. The Omni Jackie, no, he wastes it. He thought the phase shift was off cooldown. They'll still find the kill regardless. Alacrity does die, but now Masros going to be in danger. In fact, he'll spear him to Leonak. Take my support, he says. Take Leonak. Leave me alone.
Aw, I was fond of them.
That's classic core play, John. Classic core play.
You know, Master is just probably saying, "Oh, I wanted to get him to the tree line." You know, it's not like he wanted to sacrifice his support, but it reminds me of that scene from 1984. I'm not sure if you're privy to that book, Mike.
No.
In the hidden room where Winston surrenders. It's so long. So he surrenders Julie the same way. Take her instead, not me. Mizu though.
He needs hook shot off the mark. Spear's gonna be there regardless. They've got Mizu. And it's a classic diffusal blade slowing down the target so your hook shot is just off the mark. I've done it before, John, I can tell you. It happens plenty of times. It won't matter, though. MTG, they smoke up again. No hook shot up, but they don't need it with Fearless around. They can initiate with the Blink Strike. See where they end up.
Looks like it's more of a ward run. GXR is mainly playing this bot jungle where they have complete control. They can just clear out the camps, clear out the farm, start going on to that tier 2 bot, and transition to taking the outpost. So if they can get this without the defense, that's going to be a big part of the map taken out from MPG. They can't really just give this one away. They can maybe set up for the top jungle and just start to play there instead, which would be the smart play. As GXR currently smoked up and look to make something happen after that tier 2 fell.
GXR now with the blink up on JoeCam. Definitely want to try and make something happen ASAP. They find anyone.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Might be able to find Q, but he's already backed off towards the fountain already.
Radiant's middle tower
Everyone
is
from
under
MTG
attack.
is just currently showing at the top lane. So instead, GXR, they're going to push in the mid-tier 2 tower. Immediately they go onto the high ground. With that Aegis up, they are feeling extremely confident. And they're going to go in. A nice force staff out onto the Grimstroke is going to force Leonak out of position. But there's the arena out with the spear. It's just not going to be enough. A nice hook shot though. Lands on 4 heroes Q. Just stunning them all up into Fearless, who can get to work. But in your dreams, going to try and fight back. It's just not going to be enough, it looks like. They'll lose the Aegis. Fearless keeps going after Mizu. Can he fight the Centaur? It looks like he can. With the Purge up and the Tricks of the Trade, he'll get to work. He'll find Mizu, and now In Your Dream will be the only one left as they get the Inkswell out. The spear is there. In Your Dream going to keep trying to run, but they should have enough control to eventually kill him off, and they will. And Q on the clockwork, John. He redeems himself with that hook shot, landing on 4 heroes and stunning all of them up. And then he proceeds to just trap them all in the cogs. Just perfect play.
It's the team fight combo. You get the arena off, you get the smoke screen on top, the cogs follow up with that beautiful hook, and it just allows Fearless to still bounce off all this damage. The silence is just ruining GXR. No BKBs yet. They need some of that up if they want to take these fights.
That T1 mid tower really not going to last very long here.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
XR. I'd hate to bring it up again, John, but we saw this in game 1. You don't want to repeat of that game if you're GXR. But that does appear to be what's slowly happening here. I think GXR, they're not going to try and slow down. They need to smoke up again and go, I think. And there you go. They'll pop on immediately. I think this is quite important for GXR. With their kind of draft, you cannot force it to the late game.
No, it's the same issue from game 1. They have to find that early advantage. They have to clear out the last tier 2.
Oh,
They
it's
get
nice
scanned
scan.
out though.
That's a very nice scan. Not going to be able to find anything. In fact, there might be a counter initiation from MTG if they so wish. Problem is, Jackie doesn't have his ulti up, so they probably won't go without the Omni. But just the fact that they scan out the smoke and they avoid it is going to be good enough, I think, for Motivate. GXR are once again kind of back to farming.
You know, the timings here remind me of game 1 so much. Except in game 1, it felt like maybe 25 was when Motivate.Trust turned it. This time around, it's 23. They smoke up. They've got the BKB on Fearless, so he doesn't care about the control. On Ricky, he can just jump in, get the smoke screen off, get the tricks off, the DPS off for his team. This is the point where I want to see GXR improve from game 1. They need to just execute cleaner and avoid these confrontations.
They found a target. Paulison. This spike's going to help for a second, but not too much as Masaros now does move in. Doesn't land the spear there onto Jokem or Mizu. They're off to a good start with the kill onto Paulison, and well, it looks like Motivate. They're very confident with their late game. So just buy more time for Jackie to keep farming up. He's got that Eye of Skadi coming out very soon on that jug. Pretty much a very similar build up to game 1. He has that up. As we saw in game 1, they can start to get a lot more confident with their team fights. As GXR, you can see in your dream, he's trying to work towards the BKB soon, but you really start to get a little bit concerned as to what they're going to do in about 10 minutes when this game seems to be out of their control because their draft just does not translate as well in the late game. See what they can get up to, what they can try and do, but
Tower is under attack.
it's already looking very tough as they do TP up top in your dream. It's going to show. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, looks like the arena is going to be dropped. Masaros is able to set up. Hook shot way off the mark again. Meanwhile, Leonak is going to get caught, but they do kill off Paulison. Q going to try and TP. That'll force the Dream Coil out. And it should be a 2-for-2 trade in the end.
Double kill.
They'll get him. Buyback was committed by GXR to boot, so they might want to keep going, but in your dream, Fearless does not get the hit off, so the blink is away. Bit of a messy engagement from both sides, but I suppose with the buyback being committed there by Jokem, you could probably make the argument that Motivate.Trust came out on top.
They definitely did. You're hurting the line here from progressing into the 4-staff, which is very important when you're up against Ricky. So just the fact that Jokem has to stall that timing, come in, try to salvage the fight is already a small victory for Motivate.Trust. They can maybe just wait for arenas to be back up, wait for the supports to respawn, look to go again. The Rosh is coming up really soon too. That is Roshan number 2. You can't afford to give that to GXR. Aegis Cheese, free Ag Shard. Ag Shard on In Your Dream in this game is going to be very annoying. Just having that enrage up with the Earth Shock means that locking in Your Dream becomes a lot harder, and he walks in at the right time. So Motivate.Trust, they've got to use the flares, they've got to be ready to take that fight in the pit.
They do. This time though, Motivate, I don't think will allow them to take it for free. will try to fight. However, Masaros has been caught out. That's a great way to start. They have got the Mars, but he's not dead yet. But a big Dream Coil on the backside, catching out even more. Nice cogs there from Q to push them back as Fearless does move forward, but he is all by himself. He needs to back off. However, Omni is committed in your dream, copping all the damage as he does pop the Enrage and now the Hex to try and turn back around onto Jackie. They've got the Jug. Fearless, he's gone back in. He is in big, big trouble. He'll try to fight in your dream, but he is going to die for his trouble. As in your dream will survive on about 50 HP and now Alacrity catching out another. As in your dream moves in and gets the killer and now a hook shot again from Q.
Oh, no.
It's one of those games, John, where you miss the first hook shot and you're going to miss every single one.
Yeah, and you can't afford to. Like, if he actually did manage to isolate in your dream, get the kill, they wouldn't be able to do Roche, so it will force them into higher ground, and they could maybe at least stall that out. At this point, they take the mid-tier tree, they take the Roche, they get the Ag Shard in your dream. So here comes the perfectly balanced Enrage on Earthshock. And that's just going to make it so hard to lock them in. Motivate.Trust, they didn't get the cleanest initiation. They kept forcing the issue. It's hard for them to fight without Arena. They need Arena to really set up all this AoE coming through. And now GXR, they've actually found a high ground. They're actually going to take a Rax. Big change up from game one. This is going to help them keep the lane shoved in, help them prevent Motivate.Trust from finding that catch-up farm. And they even managed to finally finish this heart on Mizu. So he's ultra tanky on that Centaur. 4k HP, you're hard-pressed to melt down this big tanky boy up front now.
Just got a lot tougher for Motivate. If they can get done. Motivate, they will group up as 5 and get back to the farming game. Of course, they just want to try and avoid the side of GXR now, but In Your Dream is going to start rushing forward. He has found Masaros, but Fearless is right behind. Try and help out. Arena is placed defensively. Oh, Fearless trying to make sure he doesn't get caught, but a nice dust is there. He'll pop his BKB, but Aghanim Scepter, Dream Coil is online. Fearless will continue trying to run, but it looks like he is screwed. Just not expecting the axe to be up on Alacrity, but there it was.
Mine is truly a blessed life.
Now you might see GXR trying to rush the high ground very soon.
Under attack.
We'll be able to just try and force a buyback out of Fearless. That's exactly what In Your Dream will do.
Yeah, they understand that they're super strong right now in GXR. 14k lead, 22-25. And Motivate.Trust, their options for the defender are not quite there. Arena's still on a 10-second cooldown. Tier 3 falls. Axe exposed. Scotty up on Jackie, but that leaves him with no buyback. If he dies, that might just be another full set of racks. Heck, maybe even the tier 4 is being rushed now by GXR.
I mean, I'd say it's game if you can't buy back. He's pretty much all the damage right now. Luckily, though, for Motivate.Trust, GXR, they're going to back off after that one Rax. So really not too bad for Motivate, but definitely a great advantage for GXR. Because now In Your Dream, he does find a DD rune. So you could see them going high ground again very, very soon.
Eager to know Dire's whereabouts.
For Motivate, of course, they're kind of stuck there. They've got to wait it out. They know they can't fight on the low ground. Maybe we see a smoke being popped, but I don't think it'd be the greatest idea. That being said, they don't really know the DD's up now on In Your Dream. Could be quite detrimental if they pop that smoke and try to force a fight.
Yeah, they can't. I think at this point, you surrender your tier 2 top as well. You play in this high ground area. You try to keep getting farm on Jackie. Maybe at least save up for the buyback on your Jug. And you'll feel a little bit more secure when the stats up. But GXR are a bit too strong. Like, the Dream Coil Ags upgrade just ruins what Fearless wants to do. And he doesn't have a solution for that. It's one of those things that once it's out, the only way of not being affected by it is not getting hit. And that's easier said than done. So GXR, they just need to take this next set of racks, and Motivate.Trust is not going to have the easiest time to find catch-up farm, if they can even do so. Now, Jackie's trying, he's shoving in the bot lane, just staying away from trouble, trying to build up that gold. But he does actually opt to just buy out the Ag Shard, so not saving up for the buyback. I think he just feels like he needs more damage, he needs more presence in these fights. It's risky, but if it works out, then I guess you can keep stalling the game out if you find a couple of kills.
They've also got that sleeping dart up on Fearless. It can be a little bit more annoying throughout these team fights, but it's still going to be a very hard ask to try and defend this high ground for the side of Motivate.Trust. We'll just keep putting people to sleep. It's Mizu just continue frontlining on that Centaur. Another sleeping dart out. They're kind of just letting GXR know that you've got to commit if you want this Rax. I mean, they're going to get it eventually, that's the thing. Jackie will deny it off. Now, well, they found in your dream. Problem is, Q may be caught out in the Kongs. He does get diffused up, forced up away. Another sleeping dart is there. In your dream, though, still has the enrage, still has the BKB, and he will pop it now as Masteros misses the spear. Jackie does move in with the spin, but it's not going to be enough. Still with the BKB down now on In Your Dream, that'll mean they are forced to back off. Motivate, if they really want, can try to capitalize. They have smoked up. Try and move in JoeCam. He spots them out though with a nice hex out. And now the Stampede to try and disengage. Q is off with the hook shot. JoeCam still trying to get away. Will eventually go down for his team. But he does allow everyone else to get out. And that's all that's going to matter.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill to get there for Motivate at this point. They're just reaching for whatever they can. GXR wouldn't mind that too much. They pull out at the right time. Their Aegis expired right as that fight broke out on mid for the last for the range racks. So they can just sit back, reset. They've got the Basher up now on In Your Dream as well. So he's got Troll coming through. He's got so much to offer on the Ursa right now. Whereas Motivate.Trust, kind of the same issue we saw from GXR from last game, where Fearless can't really flash farm. He's lagging behind in build-up. It's all flowing onto Jackie, so it's all about the jug, but he only has a Scotty. It's not that big jug we saw last time. He needs a little bit more to come in to really get the damage off for his team. Now, it was around a Scotty timing where Jackie did bounce back around, but this is a 16k deficit. This is much, much bigger of a lead coming on from GXR. Their 2 racks is up. For the most part, there's still the range down bot. It's just constantly shoved in. And once GXR commits for more objectives, I don't know how MG plays
hook
it.
shot again gonna miss. I'm not even sure who he was aiming for there, but it really is one of those games. For every kind of Clockwork player out there, they know what these kind of games are like. You just can't land a hook. It's just, no matter what you do, it's now they jump in the mid side, they've got Fearless. It's a nice pick off there from GXR, and there is no buyback on Fearless. So now GXR can certainly start moving in onto that high ground again if they so wish, but it looks like they might actually back out for a bit. No, never mind, they are definitely going. No need to back out. They know the Ricky can't buy back. It's actually only 85 gold short, but it's 85 gold short enough. Will fortify Q. He's going to just force off his way in, but he does not get the cogs off on Polison. And now Mizu trying to turn around, but the silence is there still. In Your Dream will move in. Spin is going to do nothing to help out, but he will buy back. Now Masteros with the spear is off the mark. They even pinged the building. Masteros telling you what he wanted to hit, but it just does not pan out that way. And Motivate, they are not landing anything.
Yeah, they need these spells to land. I mean, you can't do anything if you don't get the control off. GXR just steadily chipping away. All melee racks gone, just 2 range racks left before Megas come in. 22k lead, 23 to 27, 36.5 minutes in. This is what we needed to see from GXR in game 1. They finally figured out what they had to do with the lead, actually translate that into an objective advantage, and they just got control of the map. Like, there's not enough room here for Motivate.Trust to start finding some farm. start playing catch up on anyone but Jackie. So it's still pretty much the Jackie show here. You really would prefer to give some gold to Fearless, and it's only now he's diverging for this Battle Fury. He wants to go into that. He knows he's going to need to clear out some massively big waves. Would it be Fury? It's too far off, and he has to hold on for buyback as well. So I'd say Motivate.Trust, their game plan now is to hold for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. And GXR are not going to allow you to do that. Maybe just wait for this next Roche. About 10 seconds off. You can get the Ags, potentially the Ags upgrade or the refresh as well. The Aegis Cheese. And they're already camping it. Like, they know what they need to do. Just take the Roche, get the refresh, the double Dream Coil, double Stampede potentially there. And MTG, this is their chance to fight. So they do smoke up. They need to find that angle. They need to land that hook.
That they do, John. That they certainly do. Rocket Player will give the vision. Scan is out. They know exactly where they are. Q, he has found out Paulison. Not quite the target they need a hook, but they will commit it. As now Masteros, he does go into the backside after In Your Dream, but he can't finish him off. He can't even stun him up. The BKB going to be completely wasted as Jackie is trying to spin his way to victory. But Fearless has gone down. The Hexa control is out. They've got Jackie on the jug. That'll be another death for the side of Motivate.Trust. And now the Roshan will be rushed by In Your Dream as they try to rush over and try to contest this. Rocket Flare is out. Fearless, he's trying to move his way in, but it's too late. It is way too late. Oh, and Fearless, he's been caught. He has been caught by Joe Camp, and that'll be another death for the Ricky. An immediate dieback. And that might be enough to call GG, honestly, John. There you go, they call it. They can't defend. They just can't do it without five.
No, they had to have their entire lineup for that one. They forced a Roche fight. They didn't manage to get the engagement. Very good cut off there from Paulson, just throwing his body on that ramp. And they even got the scan off there as well while the movement came in. You're seeing what would have happened in game one if Galaxy Racer managed to actually push the high ground. Right? They get that advantage early on, but this time around, they don't give the time for Motivate.Trust to farm. Jackie couldn't build up big enough. They couldn't distribute that gold towards Fearless and Masaros. Saw Motivate.Trust misplay a bit in the early game, and Galaxy Racer managed to punish. So it's 1-1 in a best of 3. I believe we've seen them in that position before in other tournaments as well, up against Galaxy Racer and Motivate.Trust. So we'll see who actually takes it out. Can Motivate.Trust bounce back and correct those issues we were having? Or can GXR actually finally close out a series from Motivate.Trust? We're going to have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is not the first time they've been 1-1. You are correct in saying that, John. This does tend to happen a lot between these two teams, and it should make for a very interesting game number 3 now between MTG and GXR. For now, though, it is MLPDotA johnxfire, and we are going to be back after a short 10-minute break to see how this does all pan out. We'll see you all again very soon.